Alright, what is up everybody? This is a new series I'm starting. It is called Video Game Jukebox. This is kind of something I've been wanting to do for a long time. It's basically me sharing some of my favorite tracks from video games that I've played in my life. Some of these tracks hold a very, very special place in my heart, as I'm sure most of you. So I kind of wanted to play some of my favorites and kind of talk about some of the memories that are attached to them for me. And hopefully you guys have some good memories attached to. Nostalgia abound. I'm so excited to do this. I love video game music. I love all music, really. I'm a musician myself, so I really can't help it. But yeah, as you can see, we're starting with Johnny C. Bad from Final Fantasy VI, because obviously we're in a bar. What better song to start off with? So grab your favorite adult beverage, or a glass of water if you can't do that, or a glass of milk, whatever your preference is, and let's sit back and listen to some nice video game music of the past. Alright, we are going to kick things off in a pretty epic way, okay? This is definitely my favorite boss battle theme in the history of Final Fantasy games. So we'll listen to a little bit of it, and then I'll come back in and talk to you guys about why I love it so much. Okay, so the reason why I love this track so much, obviously the first time you hear it in Final Fantasy VI is when you encounter Atma Weapon on the floating continent, right? So, you do not expect this fight at all, right? So you know that you're going up to the floating continent for an epic battle, obviously, because Kefka's there, Gestal's there, and you're just going through the floating continent, dealing with all the buttholes on your way, because they're all really strong at that point. And the floating continent is kind of a pain in the butt dungeon the first time you play it. But then you get through, you get your save point and everything. You fight a couple of things on the way up, and you're like, we're getting closer to the statues, blah blah blah. And then there's this thing, this friggin' sprite that's sitting right in front of your way, and it's blocking your path. You're like, what the heck is that? And you talk to it, it's immediately a battle. And this starts playing. Specifically the beginning, right here, when it loops again. And it's like, oh my god, what is this thing? It's a big beast, it's staring you down, and it has this whole spiel that it says before it even attacks you. And it scares the crap out of you the first time you see it, because you're like, what is this thing? Atma Weapon? Why is it talking to me? Why is it saying it's, freaking pure energy and ancient and all this stuff, and it's just this beast? And then he starts fighting you, and it's even harder. It's just the feeling of helplessness when I first saw Atma Weapon, and like the excitement I had for a really tough fight because of this music. As soon as I heard this music, I knew that this was actually going to be a difficult fight. And I'm like, what? This is a special theme? I've never heard this before. This freaking monster came out of nowhere, and he's beating the crap out of me right now. So, and it's also just cool. you know, the build up, and then how it's like right here it's kind of like you can do it. You know, it's backing you up, and it's like, this is such a cool theme, man. And I have listened to this way too many times, just when I just feel like hearing good video game music. I'll bring this one up all the time and just listen to it. Like, this brings back so many memories being a kid, and just how awesome it was to fight this terrifying boss the first time I fought him. So that's our first one, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let's move on. Alright, so this next one is from another entry into the Final Fantasy series that actually gets a lot of flack, and it's kind of a controversial title, but I have played it many, many times. This is a guilty pleasure, but I do enjoy this game, and I hope you guys do too. If not, I totally understand, because Japan just thought we were in the 90s. Japan just thought we were total idiots here in America, which a lot of us kind of still are, but, you know, I'm not getting into that. We're enjoying ourselves. Anyway, this is a track from Final Fantasy Mystic Quest, and it is called Doom Castle. It's the final dungeon right before you fight the Dark King. Let's listen. Alright, so the reason that I love this theme, number one, again, I love Final Fantasy Mystic Quest. It's just a... It's somewhat of a nostalgic thing, because I rented it from Showtime Video, this was way before now. I mean, this was when we still had video stores, local video stores, not even like Blockbusters, movie galleries, all that stuff. This one, Showtime Video. I rented this game after I'd played Final Fantasy IV. That was the first Final Fantasy I ever played, was Final Fantasy IV, and it's still my favorite. But, yeah, I rented this game, I'm like, oh, it's a Final Fantasy. It doesn't have a number, though. It's Mystic Quest? Okay. I got it, and I'm like, okay, it's kind of cool that I can just, like, stab my sword out when I want to on the world map. That I have a jump button. That's kind of cool. You know, I did realize how freaking easy the game was pretty quick compared to Final Fantasy IV. I was like, oh, this is super easy. But I did enjoy the characters. I didn't like that you only had, you know, 2 characters on your party at a time, but I thought the characters were kind of cool. You know, Tristan, Kaylee, I could take or leave. I think that was her name, Kaylee. Tristan was cool. The fact that he gives you bombs is really cool. I was really upset that, you know, that he gets the, you know, stretchy claw thing in the first dungeon. He's like, check this thing out. No, you can't have it. I'm taking it with me. See you later. And he just, he screws off with it, and you're like, that looked cool. Why couldn't I get that? But anyway, you get that later. But yeah, the game was awesome. I enjoyed it a lot. Except for the Wind Tower. Just screw the Wind Tower. Everyone who's ever played Mystic Quest to completion will know exactly what I'm talking about. But yeah, the Doom Castle, when I got there, and you see the statue of your dude, like, standing there, and he's gold and shit, and you're like, this is awesome. And then you go up and you fight the Dark King as a kid, not knowing that you can just full heal him to death. But so you actually have to fight him. But the Doom Castle music is cool. It's very optimistic right around this part. But then it goes into that riff, you know, the and it really reminds me of Wolf and Man by Metallica. That riff just gets me that way. It sounds an awful lot like it. But regardless, that's our second one. Let's go ahead and move on. Alright, so we've had some hype ones. A couple of hype songs so far. Now we're going to bring the mood down a little bit. This next one is just kind of chill. It's, and you knew we couldn't get through one of the first episode without me having to play Chrono Trigger music. However, this is one, now I would say a lot of people have probably heard, but back in the day, this was really, really cool that it was, that if you found it and got to hear it. It was actually removed from the final game. It was meant to be used as the background music for an extra dungeon called Singing Mountain. Now, and it was supposed to be in the prehistoric age. So, I'm going to go ahead and play it, and then I'll come back and talk more about it. And I really like this tune. It's very chill, and I think you guys will like it too. Alright, and it pretty much loops from there. This is a very, like, chill song that I wish would have made it into the final game. Again, it was meant for a prehistoric dungeon called Singing Mountain. Would have been cool to have an extra dungeon in the prehistoric era because that was one era that felt like it wasn't as fleshed out as the rest, really. You know, your side quest, really, like your towards the end when you get all your side quests, it's the only thing that is there is the ruby armor to get, or not the ruby armor, the ruby armor, yeah, because ruby vest or ruby armor, you end up having to go and get all kinds of fangs, feathers, and horns from the hunting range, which, if you're like me, you did it the first time because you hunted down news to beat and get the 10 or 20 tech points. I think it's 20. Is it 10 or 20? I don't remember. Just to fill out your tech list before the Tyranno layer and stuff. So, yeah, it was kind of like not... It didn't have a lot to do towards the end of the game, so Singing Mountain would have been awesome. Now, something pretty cool that I don't know if any of you guys have played this, but I actually have it in reproduction cartridge form. It was a fan game made by the people who are at Chrono Compendium, which is an amazing website. I've been a lurker on those forums for years. I think I have one post, which I'll make a video about eventually, because I only made one post, but and it was well received. But no, the guys, you know, Chrono 99, Zeality, all those dudes that have been on Chrono Compendium for years, got together and went ahead and made a ROM hack for like a sequel to Chrono Trigger. It's called Crimson Echoes, and it was really well built. I definitely want to do a video talking about it at some point. They did get a cease and desist, however, when the game was only 2% away from being complete. It's still very playable, and I have played it a few times. But yeah, they added Singing Mountain in that game as a dungeon. It had a really cool mini game for how to open up the doors. It involved drums, and it was really cool. And I give them all kinds of credit for it. But yeah, I was just glad to see that they added Singing Mountain. We got to see like potentially what this dungeon could have been like in the prehistoric era. It was very cool. But that being said, we're gonna move on. We're gonna listen to one more for this episode, and I think we're gonna stay with the chill theme here for the last one. So, 1 second, and I'll load it up. Okay, so this next one is also from the Chrono series, but it's from Chrono Cross. This song is very much in contention for. Well, it's no argument my favorite track from Chrono Cross, but it might actually be my favorite track from any video game ever. It never fails to give me, goosebumps. It never fails to, put me back to the age that I was when I heard it. And it's just very chill, and it is so well composed. And I have been trying to learn this song on guitar for a very long time, and it's much more difficult than it sounds. But here we go. I really love this song. I hope you guys do too. This is Lost Fragments from Chrono Cross. So there's a lot to say about this song for me. You do hear it a couple of times before you get to this point in Chrono Cross, but it's very short-lived, and it's not quite as iconic to me than it is in this specific part. When it's right before you're about to change discs. Obviously, you can come here without being ready to change discs and stuff, but when you go to the Dead Sea where there's the fate distortions, right? After the whole thing with getting all of the dragon relics and getting your true form back and everything, this song starts playing while you're in the sea. There's nothing there but these fate distortions, but it's something about how somber it is, and just the fact that you're in a weird area. And obviously this is like a more, I guess you would say a chiller version of the main theme from the Chrono Cross intro, which is also amazing. But this one just puts me in a good spot, man. Mentally, nostalgically. For some reason, this song is always so I'll let you guys in on a couple of things. I have a horrible, terrible anxiety, and when I get really, really bad anxiety attacks, the dry heaving sort of stuff and the tunnel vision and all of that, this song has never failed to bring me out of it. And that's why it means so much to me, and why it might be my favorite track of all time. Whenever I start panicking, or, you know, just my brain is going 20 different directions, this is like the panacea. This is the cure. And I listen to this song, and I'm just so put at ease that it's really amazing to me that... It's not amazing to me that music can do that, because music is amazing. It might be the greatest force on Earth. But really, I wanted to save this for last in this video, because I didn't want to talk about that, and the fact that I can always come back to this whenever I'm feeling scared or uncertain about things, or just in general, if I need to calm down. This song does it, and I'm glad I could share it with you guys. And it just so happens to be from Chrono Cross, which is also one of my favorite games ever. So, yeah, that's gonna be it for this first episode of Video Game Jukebox. I really like doing this. It's pretty fun. Having gone through this first episode and gotten to talk about these great tracks, all I want to do is talk about even more of them. So, I will definitely be doing another episode of this, well received or not. If you don't like it, I don't really care. I love it. So I'm going to keep making what I love. And I'm going to sit here and I'm going to talk about my favorite video game tracks. And, I mean, I really hope you guys do like it. And I hope you can share with me some of your favorite tracks, or even, you know, what you think about the tracks I've put up and everything. And I'll probably do, if it is well received, I'll do like a voting thing, you know, the first few commenters or something, their choice for songs, even if it's from games I've never played, I can check them out. You know, you guys can request stuff. It is a bar, you can go up to the jukebox and play something. You know, it's not all about me, so I'll announce that if I plan to do it, again, if this is well received enough, but I'm going to continue to make these either way, because I love this. This is just so cool. And it's a really nice break from, like, doing the playthroughs. Like, I love playing the games, of course, but this is nice to, like, wind down with after I've done a couple episodes. This was done, well, the second half of this video here was done right after I just recorded the 17th episode of the Breath of Fire 3 Pseudo Randomizer, so I'm just sitting here like, yeah, I need to chill out. I'm going to listen to some video game music and talk about it. So either way, sorry if this video ran a little bit too long for you. I'll try and make it a little bit more streamlined last time, but when I'm talking about things I really like, I get pretty passionate and repetitive, sadly. But regardless of that, thanks you guys for listening, and I'll see you next time for more Video Game Jukebox. Peace.